Just waiting to see.
Daily pivot test to be awesome.
A daily pivot test would be good, and it would also just it would meet that that gap area as well. I just don't know whether it's going to come quite down that far. Overnight, we had Trump. In fact, we're live on YouTube, so good morning, everyone, and good morning to you, Jeff.
Good morning, Ash. Morning, all.
We're just having a quick chat about a potential plan here for the FTSE, and actually, quite like the long here with the FTSE. Overnight, we had Donald Trump saying that there's going to be an announcement of a significant economic package for the system, I guess, for the economy, and trade has reacted straight away off that, and actually it's caused a gap to the upside, which is going to be a little bit tricky, really, because people are still looking for that opportunity to sell out some positions, but I think we might well be at a turn here. What I'm likely to do is go in here, and maybe go in here if I have to. So I'm going to go in 3 times. Potentially, and it'll be fairly light, so I don't think I'll go in too heavy here, mate, but I think I probably will end up trading this area here, and as I say, looking for maybe the daily pivot, and then maybe looking down the bottom again, because I quite like the prospect of at least an assumption that that there will be some aid here for the markets, and for the market route.
Look, it's a lovely technical setup from my perspective. What's sitting there right in front of you? Not an entry for me yet, but getting close.
Yeah. This is the slightly tricky thing. I think I will take this. So I'm going to go long FTSE. Hold on. I obviously need to wait for the. Let's wait for the open, but I will be going long FTSE here. It's just a question of. No, let's do it this way instead, actually. Okay. Right, I'm getting ready to go long FTSE. I haven't triggered that in yet, but I'm getting ready to go long FTSE. I'm just waiting for the bar to close. Just want to see what this 15-minute bar looks like, because obviously, if the 15-minute bar is looking negative, then I'm not interested, actually, because I still want to go long, but I just don't think the timing would be quite there. So if we end up closing on this level, then I'll just wait for the next bar to develop, and looks like we're throwing down at this current stage. But what I'm looking for is either the 5 or the 15 to give me a decent bar. This one looks all right. Then we look at the 15. The 15 is looking a little negative right now, mate. So I need this one to switch around as well, really, and not suggest that there could be some further downside movement, because maybe the level's not here. Maybe it's a bit lower, or maybe it's here, or even better down here.
Made a nice bearish bar with a let's say a tail that pierces the daily pivot just enough to close the gap.
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
Above the daily pivot would be okay, wouldn't it?
That would be fantastic. That would be fantastic.
Should
I don't
we put
mind.
Our order in?
Oh, I quite like that 15 actually. That looks all right. That looks all right to me. I might well enter here, mate. I'll tell you if I enter, but I'm looking. I don't mind that 15 at all. Yeah, so we could put an order in. The slight issue is, in fact, it looks close, but it's still 80 pips away because of the volatility we had. So I think I'll wait for a break of that 15-minute bar, and if that 15-minute bar breaks to the upside, then I'm going to be looking long, right in this area. If it doesn't, then maybe we wait for another 15 minutes and we get a better entry bar. That would be ideal. I don't love that bar, I've got to say. It's a little bit confused.
A little bit spinning topish, isn't it?
A little bit, yeah. It's not the strongest bar to enter on. Maybe because of the possibility. In fact, let's wait for a stronger bar. And the reason I say that is because of the possibility of people still trying to get out of positions. then we probably should get a little bit of strength here. And actually, I'm not seeing a great deal of liquidity as the market starts this morning. Let me just have a quick check around the stocks here. Yeah, stocks have popped really nicely. So we're definitely after the long. No doubt about it. For the top 20 stocks, we've got, looks like around about 60% of them look like they're in positive territory, so that's fairly healthy. So we are looking for a pop to the upside. It's just a question of when rather than anything else. So I'm still happy to scale in. And as you say, mate, what would be fantastic? A real, a drive to the downside, close this gap back above the daily pivot. That does actually mean that it's got to come down 150 pips. And actually from where we sit now, it's got to come down 200 pips. So I think the likelihood is fairly slim. But in this market, you just never know.
Indeed.
You never know what's going to happen.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Morning to you, John, as well. How are you doing?
I'll be quite happy with that. It might be even that we need a longer term time frame to set us up. I have to say this is great if we are trying to get along here, because the closer we get to this low, the safer we are in a lot of ways. Because in some respects, having a stop under that bottom there would be fantastic, because we may well have carved out a significant low. So if we can get under there, that would be just brilliant. If we can get our stops under there, rather than having to sort of like pick a bar like here or something, getting under that area would be absolutely fantastic. So let's see if that's likely to happen, mate. Just a little bit of a pickup in the liquidity now. Still got a couple of minutes to wait until the first 5 minutes have passed, and obviously that means another 12 minutes before the first 15 are done. So it's a bit sleepy, mate. I'm quite surprised, actually. I thought there'd be a bit more of a reaction after Donald Trump said what he said, but it appears that most of those movements happened overnight. What I wouldn't mind at all is the market to sell off and actually wait for the announcement. Because then we'll have a genuine fundamental reason to buy, rather than this speculation, which is absolutely would be right now. We're speculating on what Donald Trump is saying rather than what he's actually delivered. So if we had a fundamental reason to go long, because we actually hear what the meat on the bones are, if you like, then that would be even better if the market can just drift to the downside before the speech, and then we can see if we can take a speculative long, maybe even slightly before it if it's low enough. But we are waiting anyway, mate. Yeah, we can't really do a whole bunch just yet, but it is looking like this area may well be the area to take it on. It's one of those that we've got to wait for the bars to help us and develop. But while that's going on, there's going to be some price action, which is suggesting we should get in. So we've got to be fairly strict here and say, right, we're waiting. We're waiting for a really nice signal, at the risk of possibly even missing it, which would be horrible, because this is a great little buy zone down here. So if we can get in here and break through that trend line, then I think we've got some open water to really extend our legs, possibly even 500 pips to the upside.
Sounds good. I'll be in that. Mates, let's take a look at the pound trade.
Yeah, great.
And then we'll come back to you in need. Just pull me out of this if you need to. You'll have to stop, mate.
Oh, sorry, buddy. Sorry.
Unfortunately. This is crazy. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't.
I know. It's us and technology.
What the WTF is my question. Okay, so here, guys, is the pound breakout trade that we trade as a beta test, and I'm stressing that fact in particular at the moment because the market is just in gaga land and could do anything at any time and reverse it at that in super double quick time. So I'm actually going into this at a very, very small risk, something like you wouldn't want to be putting anything more than about 1/8%, something in that order, onto this breakout trade at the moment. Is in beta test mode, as I said, and I'll explain to you the system if you're here for the first time, as John TR is. And great to have you on board, John. Hope
Oh,
you
mate,
enjoy it.
yeah, welcome, John. You probably saw me a little bit on the screen. They interviewed me, Jeff, and I did a little bit of a musical exercise. So the guys in the room
Who
would have seen
interviewed
me.
you, mate?
PH.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. And obviously the guys have been told about our show, which is fantastic to have some new people on board. So welcome, John. You are more than welcome, mate. Yeah, pick up whatever you can, and if you got any questions, then throw them in. We will get to them eventually.
Yes, absolutely. If we get tied up, we will come back and answer the questions. No drama. All right. So I need to explain this to the new people in the room, which is
cool. Yeah, I know.
No drama at all.
Sorry, I know John is now. Yeah. Sorry, mate. I keep cutting you off.
9 o'clock on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Oops, hang on, Paul. I'll get some phone calls about that one.
Isn't it 5 o'clock on a
I thought it was 9 o'clock. Must be daylight saving.
Yeah. It probably is 9 o'clock. Yeah, it should be.
It is 9 o'clock. I'm pretty sure, because
I think you'd know,
who's
mate.
half tanked it? No, I won't ask that question. Right. So we're trading the breakout into London session. And what we do here, this is beta test number 2, right? We've already been through beta test number 1, which started out with a bang and kind of ended with a whimper. But anyway, this is the second version of it. The second version of it is we trade the range, or the breakout of the range, of the last 3 candles prior to London session on an hourly chart. So we've got this bar, and this bar as our range. So here's the high of this bar, and here's the low of this bar. And the way we're trading it currently is to enter long 15 pips above the high of this bar and enter short 10 pips below the low of this bar. So I'll set that up. And I repeat, this is in beta test mode. That's a great default. Let's use that one at 0.05. You want absolutely zero risk into this. Hang on, I'm on the wrong account. That's the account I need to be on. And there we go. Same scenario. So we will place an order, new order. Let's say that's 1/4%. We don't want 1/4%. We want about half of that. So let's go in at there, 0.13. And it is a pending order. The first one, it's a buy stop. And we'll buy 15 pips above the high of the range again being that candle, that candle, that candle. So 15 pips above the high here is going to be 1.30693 is the high of the bar. We round that up to 1.3070 and then add 15 pips. So our entry for this long will be 1.3085. So we just put that into the box. And we have a stop loss, which is exactly the same as the entry for the short, 10 pips below the low of the range, which is this bar here. So the entry, the entry short will be 1.3006, and that will also be the stop loss for the long. So 1.3006 is our stop loss. Now, if you're not following this, guys, and you're new to trading, don't be concerned. It's a beta test anyway. And what I've actually done here is you can't see the long except over here. There's the buy stop. It's 15 pips above this bar, and the stop loss is 10 pips below this bar. Now, all I do now is reverse the order and go new order, sell stop this time. Pending order, sell stop, 1.3006 is the entry, and the stop loss will be exactly the same as the entry for the long, and that will be 1.3085. Now, the reason that I'm putting pretty much zero risk into this is because the market is in a very, very, let's say, volatile mode. We'll put it that way. It's extremely volatile and likely to do anything at any time. It will move on the whim of whoever opens their mouth first, pretty much. So if a scientist came out and said we've got a cure for the for COVID-19, you will see everything that's just happened in the last 3 or 4 days. I won't say wipe out, but I will say go very, very much towards that. And that's just one example of what can happen. Many things can happen. So that's why I'm going in this very, very light in terms of risk, because anything can happen at any time. The upside of that, of course, if you get on the right side of one of these moves, you can get a very, very good result out of that. You would then need to be a very diligent manager of your trade at that point, because sometimes you just don't get enough time to react, and you need to take profit where it's available. And if you get a massive spike of 40, 50, 100 pips in a heartbeat, you need to get some profit off the table very quickly if that's the case. And that's what I'll seek to do here. If I was using the EA, the trade manager, I would be setting a TP1 on this at 1-to-1, because this could go very quickly to 1-to-1 and then retrace and take me out without taking profit. And if I'm not in front of the charts for like 1 minute, that can happen if somebody says something, for instance. So that's the reason I'm going in very, very light. And we will talk a little bit about the analysis on the pound and other crosses very, very shortly. But Ash has got about a minute and a bit to go before he's going to make a decision on that trade. Let's go back to you, Ash. Have you got your mic closed, Ash? Hello, Ash. Wonder if we lost Ash, or have we lost me? Let me pose that question. If somebody could just put into the chat box on YouTube that you can hear me, that would be good. And that will at least let me know that I'm talking to somebody and Ash has got an issue. Perhaps you can hear both of us. I can't hear Ash. Thinking Nicole, not sure what yes means. You can hear me. Excellent. Excellent, Rosalind. Here's Ash.
Sorry, I
can hear him. Thank you, Willie. Thank you, everybody. Okay, got the message. Ash was away, obviously.
Well,
mate, it is now very, very close to your 15-minute candle. What are you going to do?
Yeah, let's check it out. Let's check it out. So, can I grab the screen without you? Probably can. Yes, I can. This will stop other person's screen. Perfect. Right.
Got it.
So we are, we've completed that 15-minute candle, and look at what patience does for you. Because if we look at this, this 5, I saw this. Let's forget this one for right now. I saw this 5. I saw these two for this 5 here, this 5 here. Thinking, okay, maybe the time is now, but I've got to complete the 15, because if I don't complete the 15, then I won't know whether we actually have a first 15 minutes of genuinely bullish price action. And then we get to our 15, and this is what it looks like. It's taken out this low, and not only is it taken out that low, it's also taken out this area here. Now that doesn't mean I've changed my opinion. It just means that the price is going to potentially be better. It still may not end up being, maybe the setup still ends up being some sort of engulfing bar instead, which means that the price is going to be the same. But that's okay, because if it's an engulfing bar, the price may be the same, but the signal will be a lot better. So far, mate, it's still coming down, and I'd love it, as you know, I'd love it to come and close this gap.
Yeah.
If it closed that gap, it would be a lot more attractive. For multiple reasons, actually. The only thing is that this gap appears on the futures market. Let's just go around the grounds real quick here and check some of the other markets here. But this is the S&P 500. S&P 500 also overnight had a pretty good spring to the upside, just easing back it also into the daily pivot. Not looking particularly good there for a trade at this particular stage. I have to say, the volume that is, in fact, look at this. Everybody can see this for themselves. I'm going to flip it onto a minute chart here. This is a minute chart. Now look at the price action. That is slow.
That's wet weak stuff, yes.
That's wet weak stuff. So actually, even if I do get a setup, I'm thinking, I don't think we're going to get much movement, mate. That's the way I'm looking at it right now. But I have to be careful because, trying to actually pick when the market's going to move is incredibly tricky. So not a good idea.
It begs the question, doesn't it? What are we waiting for here? Why is the market slowing down? Why are we in standstill mode?
Well, let's
think about that.
Yeah, let's have a think about that. Let's see if we can get inside the psychology of the market here. So, what have we got? Can you see? Yeah, let's see my screen. All right, let's have a look. Forex Factory. Here we go. Let's have a look at some of the potential announcements.
Zippity doodah there, really.
Zippity doodah. Yeah. That's some of the problem. Just for everybody else who's listening in, zippity doodah in trading speak means nothing going on. So we got. I mean, look at these numbers as well. Just from what we've got. So I don't know how leading or lagging that is, but that's not bad, is it? 104.5. That's an okay number. I mean, that's like we're expecting Armageddon here, and this is a pretty good print. Just see when this is due.
Yes, that's going to be the important part. What's it measuring? What period of time?
Released monthly, about 11 days after the month ends.
So a little bit on the cusp, isn't it?
It's a little bit on the cusp, yeah.
Okay, we think we know what's coming, but it's not there yet.
Business confidence from Australia. Let's just double check that. Oh, actually, that's a pretty significantly low drop there. I don't know what the Aussie's doing today, but that is a fairly significant low drop. It doesn't matter that I've never heard of this number before. It matters that actually when you look at the chart, that is an extreme drop that we haven't seen quite as low as that since 2013. So it's been pretty good up until this point. So that's a bit of a red flag there, isn't it, mate?
It certainly is.
China CPI. Okay, now this is how is that possible? China CPI. Let's just have a look at this. Okay, all right. When I say how that's possible, actually, those numbers are hugely inflated here. 4.3. So what we've seen in China CPI is 2.4 back in July 2019. So by the end of last year, we were looking at numbers of 4%, 4.3%, and now we're hitting the fives. 5.2% in the way. Now, we haven't seen numbers this high since back in 2012. So evidently, there is still some flushing out to do here. The PPIs were pretty negative. I mean, I know these numbers aren't particularly significant numbers when it comes down to moving trade massively on a day, but these are still numbers that we need to be aware of. What's going on under the hood here. Preliminary machine tool orders minus 30%. Geez, these numbers are looking pretty grim, mate, right across the board. Final payrolls is okay. Industrial production in France, actually.
God, what a chart, man.
That one.
How the heck?
Yeah, well, do you know what? The way I would read this is that that's a significant number because it's got some open water, but otherwise, I'd want to see where the average is, and the average looks to me about there. So actually, that number's not that standout. So I wouldn't read a lot from that personally. Industrial production from Italy, that's got to be bad, surely. But otherwise, we don't really have anything else that's coming out. What we do have, and what everybody needs to be aware of, I am on the stream, aren't I? I see the guy saying no Ash, but I'm
Yes, you are,
presuming
mate.
that's from
Yeah, you
before.
are.
Yeah. Yeah. What we do have is an announcement from Donald Trump, and the announcement is going to involve Donald Trump telling us about some measures, economic measures that that they are going to be putting in place to help
But
this market.
did you watch his statement?
Oh, mate, I missed it by about 10 minutes. I came in from the pub last night, and I saw on Bloomberg that it was live, so I clicked on the link and it had finished already. So I hadn't heard it, but the summary was, it's sometimes better not to hear it, you know, and just get the summary.
Oh,
The
mate,
summary,
look, it's if I could have one of those a week, I would absolutely put a reminder on my television set, because I think that's the most entertaining show that there could possibly be.
Did you watch it?
No, I've been dying to watch a replay, but I've been flat out all day. I haven't been able to get to one. So
Oh, okay. Well, we'll have a look at it. But
I've got no idea what he said.
He basically, the summary was that there's going to be you know what he's like. He builds things up much bigger than they ever could be. There's going to be you know, a spectacular announcement tomorrow that is going to you know, give you some information about what economic measures that the government are going to take. But it's going to be spectacular
To combat coronavirus.
to combat to help the economy with the coronavirus.
Well, the economy, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, John, it is called. Let me put the link in for you, mate. It's called Forex Factory. Are you allowed to put links in? Yeah, you must be able to. There you go. This is the link in the chat there. Forex Factory, and it just gives you a rundown of the data. It doesn't tell you how to read them, but it does give you a rundown of the data points of the day. So when you flick through, you can start to go, okay, we got Chinese data tomorrow, we got pound data, you know, annual budget release. The budget tomorrow, Jeff, for the UK. Okay. Yeah, so that's a bit of an event. CPI from the US, so it kind of tells you what the week is shaping up to be like, and it'll give you a fair idea of when the market may move. You know, if it's all yellow folders, even if you don't understand the numbers, the way that you start reading Forex Factory is just looking to see, are they yellow or red folders? And if you've got a yellow folder day, if you like, then the likelihood that the market is going to move is slim.
We're kind of in that position at the moment, but there's some really interesting things you can read into this, and I think we should spend maybe 10-15 minutes on this at some stage, Ash.
Yeah.
Where, you know, if there's a forecast that is way offbeat, for instance, I can't see really one on that chart, but yeah.
What do you mean a miss?
If the forecast versus the previous is completely different, I'd be tempted very much to go and have a look at that chart and see why they're forecasting that. And if they are forecasting that, well, there's no.
I mean, I can give you one from the weekend.
Right. Okay. That will tend to give you an indication as to what the market will look like leading into that announcement.
I mean, the non-farm employment change, you know, the forecast was at 175 and we got a 273 read,
which was bang on the previous, which I don't believe for a second. I think, you know.
No. Okay, I'm taking this trade, mate. I'm taking this trade. The market is on the move. So I am going to go long at the FTSE here. I can't do it with you guys because I am trading on a different platform. I'm literally now just using Axie for
demonstration
charts.
purposes.
Yeah, it's just the charts. I'm not actually sort of taking trades off these guys anymore. I'm just like using the charts.
Do you need to take a breather or not?
I'll tell you what, give me 2. Yeah, just give me a couple of minutes. Let me stop sharing. You take over. But the trade is going live. So just so you guys know, the trade is going live here.
Righto. We give Ash a couple of minutes to place that trade where he needs to place it. I'll take a look at what I look at during the show, guys. And I don't trade the first candle, the first 30-minute candle of London session. And that's why you don't hear from me too much in the first 30 minutes. But I do get a little bit excited when it comes to the second candle. Why don't I trade the first? Because it's cost me truckloads of money in the past. That's why. And we'll get to that one day and I'll explain why that might be the case. So what I normally do is have a look at the majors. And in this show, I only deal with the major currency pairs. And of course, there are 7 of those, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I also keep gold and the S&P 500 up on my chart there just to have a look at what's going on. I've been in the euro dollar for the longest time, potentially one of the better trades I've ever taken, actually. And I've got no idea why that went as far as it went, but it did. I'm out of it now. Because I trailed right up to here, and now prices come back as I expected it would, but I also expected it would back here and back here. It didn't do either of those things.
Just brilliant work, mate. I think that's brilliant work, that one. Love that trade.
Yeah, it was a good trade. I'd like one of those a month would be just handy, you know.
Yeah, an hour.
We actually got out of that at 15.57 to 1. That was the risk to reward on that one, which was pretty cool. As I say, one of those a month would be very, very handy. But now we've reached this level. You can see how strong this level is, which is why I got out of it, right? It's why I put my stops very, very tight underneath that. I fully expect that this will pull back, if not to here, then to here maybe. And that's where I'll then make a decision as to whether this can go longer or go back to this level, or if it comes back inside of this descending triangle, which has been there for the longest period of time. But I won't make a decision until then. Can I trade it back to there is the question. And the answer is always going to be yes for me, because I do like to trade retracements. But I need to have some signals that can tell me that this is about to happen. I don't see that at the moment, apart from the fact that we are at that strong resistance level. But just because we're at that strong resistance level does not mean, in particular in this market, which has just got an appetite for anything it sees move, frankly, it's very, very difficult to trade against that, to be fair. But if you follow the rules of your strategy or your system, then I think it's perfectly valid to enter a trade in the direction that you see fit. Now, that direction for me, as I said, is definitely a retracement that I'm looking at. I'm looking for that to retrace at least to the breakout level of the previous breakout. That just makes sense.
Yeah, sorry, mate. I don't want to cut you off here, but I wonder whether if I've sorted my trade out, and I just want to talk everybody through it while they might still have an opportunity to get
absolutely in. Yes, if they can still get in it, go for it.
Okay. So the trade is this. Now there's a couple of ways you could play it, but now remember I said that we could get an engulfing bar on the 15. Not complete yet, but it's looking like it may well be an engulfing bar. So you can put your stops at the highs now. You've got a few choices. The way I'm doing it is I'm scaling in. So I'm getting in here, but my trade has got an area down here, which is effectively going to get me out. Now there's your bar. So you can trade at the high of this bar. So you want to go 1 pip. Now I'm on the if you want to look on your platform. Sorry, you want to look on your platform. You should be looking at the UK 100. Mine's the FTSE futures. You know, this is what but it's the same chart effectively. There you go. There's your. In fact, I can even maybe give you the levels if it works out. Here we go. Right, there we go. This is the UK 100 now. So you can take this trade if you want to, and the way I'm doing it, I will explain, and you can do the same thing if you like. Now, it's important to understand you are trying to build an account over a long period of time. So we are not putting our house on this trade. We're going to ease in. Now, if you're going in at 1%, then 1% goes from this point to this point of your account. Now, I wouldn't suggest you go in at 1% ever. There's no need. You don't build an account by going in at 1% generally, you know, especially when you just started, you know. Going at half, going at a quarter, going at a third is my favorite number. So if you want to go in, then you're going to go in at, looks like 60, let's call it 6,100. 6,100 is your entry. Now you've got to stop down here at this low, which is going to be about, looks like 57.70. Now, I know that seems like a long way between those 2 points, but remember, we're not trying to say, what I'm trying to say is this could well be where the market is going to take off. It might not. You know, it might not take off from here. And if it doesn't take off from here, then I don't want to not be in the trade. What you could do, of course, is put a stop down here. And if it comes down a bit further, enter again. So, you know, you've got a couple of ways you could play it. You can either put an entry in here, put a stop down here, and then look for a trade long a little bit further down. Or you could do what I'm doing, which is scaling in into 3 positions. So I've got one here, and I'll go one again down right at the low at the gap, and I'll keep my stop in the same place. So you need to work out your increments effectively. But going light, particularly if you're not used to trading the FTSE 100, that's another could be another problem if you're not used to it. So that's the hopefully that explains the money management aspect of it, and explains also the reason why I'm entering into this market. And the reason that I'm entering into this market is that we have hit an uptrend. You know, we are just about off the lows now to the downside. There's another possible area it could get caught up as well. So I'm basically saying to myself, my timing could be great here, but I'm not going to try and second guess it. What I'm saying is my overview, my general view of the market is that we go higher from here. That's my general view. Can I time it to perfection? Probably not. But the only way it can go higher is if it holds structure, and structure begins down here. That's the last defense line, if you like. So if it breaks that defense line, of course I want to be out. But if it breaks this defensive line on a 15-minute chart, I don't care. I want to be in, I want to be in, and I want to be in one more time down here. So I'm scaling, and that's the idea. And as I say, the idea is to scale in light, and you scale in light, and you basically trade light right the way through this, because you want to sleep. You know, you want to make sure that you're not making trading stressful. Trading shouldn't be stressful. It doesn't need to be stressful. The only time it's stressful is when you try and go in too heavy. You don't need to go in heavy when you trade. You need to build your account nice and slowly. The idea is to never take money out of your account until it has compounded itself to a point where you are done, you know, where your trading day or your trading year or career is over. You don't want to make a wage out of this. If you're trying to make a wage out of trading, then you're going to put yourself under a lot of pressure. So I'd encourage everybody to have a secondary income and use trading to build a pool of cash. And that means you can do it slowly. You know, you just take the pressure off. If you're trying to get a wage every month and you're going, right, well, I need $2,000 a month or $3,000 a month or whatever to live. So that means I've got to make this amount of money. Not the way to think about it. The way to think about it is I want to build my account. If I build it by $10, great. If I build it by $10,000, amazing. How do we get the daily pivot to show up? How do we get the daily pivot to show up, Jeff? Because mine's
Chris, you should have templates for a whole lot of strategies if you've been through the ATW system. And if you then go into, actually, I'll show you how to do it if you like.
Yeah, good man.
Are you done, mate? I
think so. If anybody got any questions? If nobody's got any questions, then we are done. Yes. Let me pass it to you. Hold on a minute. Aren't we expecting a guest?
We are, and very, very quickly, I'll just go through this. We are due our Tuesday interview session right at this moment. Actually, let's do that, and I'll come back to the question. How about that?
Our interview E isn't here.
Oh, how do we know that?
Well, I'm thinking about them participants. I'm just looking at the participants, and it's you and I.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Okay, mate. Well, let's let's not get distracted. I'm just in time. Alexis, you are just in time if you want to take this trade. Yes. Do you want me to go through the management again, or did you get all that? If you want me to go
I
through
think
the
everyone's happy with that, perhaps.
Okay, great. All right. Well, so we're looking for longs. We're just going to scale in. Okay, let me pass to you, and you are going to show Chris how we get the daily pivots.
All right, Chris. Too easy, I think. I'm not on the right. I can't share, mate.
There you go.
Okay, happy days. Let's go with, I'll try this account and see if I can explain it to you, Chris. Let's say there's a daily pivot there, right? So I've got my pivots loaded on this. That's good. What you need to do if you don't have a template available to you, and I should have templates on here. So you can load your template by going view, not view, sorry, right click. And if you right click on your chart, anywhere on your chart, you'll come to a thing called template. Now, if you've loaded up your templates, they should be in here. The one I'm using at the
yeah, go on, mate. Do you know what I was going to say? You see your clock icon at the top. You know your little icons at the top. You've got the plus, the minus. You've got your If you go along to the clock and click the one next to the clock,
the templates are there. Yes.
The template. I wonder whether that's easier.
Yeah, it probably is. Okay, fair enough. So, Chris, if you can see that on my chart, that little number right there, which has got all the little chart like waves on it, you should have templates loaded. If you don't have templates loaded, no drama. What you then need to do is find a file that is called pivots. You can get that free off any, just Google it and you'll pick them up free. But Actions to Wealth have got pivots loaded on just about every template that you should have if you've been through the system. So let's, for instance, go to, if you've got on your chart a template loaded and it's not showing the pivots, you should be able to go View, Navigator, Indicators. And down here, you'll find these pivots: buck pivot, month, buck pivot, week, buck pivot, day. If they're not there, then go to one of your templates that you do have, and you'll find those in File, Open Data folder. Hope I'm not going too fast. And when you open Data folder, you will find a thing called Templates. If you go in there, you'll find the files in there. So if I would open that now, you find the template that I just looked at, which is Jeff YouTube, Jeff Webb's, whatever the case may be. All your templates should be loaded in there, and you should be able to find those files in those templates. Hope that helps you. If not, then an email to contact@Actions to Wealth should get you those files. Okay. Our guest, Ash.
Yes.
Is he in the room or no?
Yes, he is. Yes. Welcome to Ping Ni. Yes.
Yes. Hi. Hello.
How are you doing? How's things?
Yes. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you fine. Loud and clear, mate.
Okay, good.
Yeah, PL, yes, the UK 100. We've entered a trade long in the UK 100. So you still got a chance to get in that. 6,100. Oh, gosh, no, you might have missed that. That's 10 pips away, isn't it? You may have missed the entry on that one. But you can still put it in. You can still put a 6,100 in. It hasn't taken off by any stretch, but it is on its way. So I'd get your order in it if you want to follow me in the trade. So Ping Ni, yes, thank you so much for but do we normally use the daily pivot, Chris? Yes, we do. Well, I'll tell you what, mate, we will get to questions in a moment. Let's quickly have a chat with Ping Ni, because he's very kindly agreed to join us and just kind of discuss his trading. He's got a fantastic record. So we asked him to just come and share with you guys just about some of the experiences that he's had, and see if he can maybe enlighten us even more. Jeff and I can offer you as much as we know, but there's always other people that can offer a new perspective which may help. So we will get to all the questions again when Ping Ni finishes up. But let's just have a quick chat with Ping Ni. So first of all, mate, just maybe just tell us what you were doing. Maybe are you doing anything alongside trading, or are you just trading?
I'm actually currently still a student in University SIM Singapore.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So is this because you are looking to go into that industry? I mean, what do you use trading for?
What do you mean by what do
Well,
you use trading for?
Is it something that you use to fund your life, or is it something that you use to build up a portfolio that later on you can draw from? You can draw from a big pool of cash, or is it something that you actually fund your life with?
Oh, okay. I'm trying now to fund my current lifestyle, like by paying my school fees or my living expenses, all those. Yep.
Okay, so you are actually just taking a monthly profit every month. You're taking profit and then just paying for your lifestyle.
Yes, yes.
Okay, well, I mean that's obviously everybody's got a huge trading for what they what fits their lifestyle. So does that put extra pressure on you? I've just been talking about having an account. Do you think that puts extra pressure on you because you've got to make a certain amount every month, or do you have sort of another way to have an income that it doesn't really matter?
Currently I'm just having this only source of income, so
Right.
it actually puts some pressure on my income. So
Yeah.
I need to pressurize myself to try to get something out of it every month. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And have you been trading for a long time?
Yes, before I joined the ATW, I was trading for about 3 months or so.
Yep.
Yeah, but just then I was just a student, does not have any source of income, so I'm just trying it out.
I see. So is that what brought you to trading? Was it something that somebody, how did you discover it? Was it just something that you saw it as an advert? Was it a kind of a friend that got you interested in it? What was the driver for you?
I have a friend who's one of my JC friends. He's trying to encourage me to get into some courses where he wants to join the stocks courses. Then I will learn the forex. Then after a few years, maybe we can just share and teach
Brilliant.
Teach one another. Yeah.
I love it. Do you know what? Stocks is my thing. I love stocks is obviously we're a foreign exchange company, but the way I started was with stocks. So I kind of understand the process a lot better with stocks, even though there's a huge amount of crossover. When you have a trading approach, there's a huge amount of crossover between stocks and foreign exchange. So it really is quite good to learn one of them because it will actually convert quite well. It's a bit like learning a musical instrument, actually. If you learn to play the piano, it's a lot easier then to go and play the guitar because you understand the structure of music. So it's quite similar. So I think you'll pick up the stocks thing, very, very quickly if you understand a bit about foreign exchange as well.
Yes, I will currently just yes.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, sorry, mate. You go.
Yes, I will pick up on stocks once I'm a bit more fine with forex where I can do and earn from it perfectly every month. Then I will try to go into stocks. Yeah.
Ping Ni, Jeff here.
Yes.
Thank you for coming on. Lovely to have you on board. Question from me would be, how did you find Actions to Wealth? What have you done in Actions to Wealth in terms of picking up a strategy or across strategies? What have you learned since you've come on board?
I've been on board with ATW for about 15 months since 2018 October. About there. Yeah. Then I've been enjoying the webcast, all the strategies being taught from the strategy leaders. So I'm now currently trading some of my own stuffs. Then my own stuff was derived from all the small little things that I can pick up from all the strategy leaders. Yeah.
Awesome.
That's brilliant. And I think that's the best position to be in, because ultimately there's so many different ways to approach trading that you have to get it to make sense to you. Somebody could teach you a strategy, but actually it may not fit. It might not even fit your lifestyle. If somebody's trading on an hourly chart and you're working all day, then obviously you need longer term time frame strategy. So even that in itself can be a little bit of a hurdle to cross. So I think it's brilliant, mate. I think it's great that you're managing to amalgamate lots of different ideas and then bring them into a way that makes sense to you. I encourage everybody to kind of try and take that approach if they can.
Well, isn't that the whole idea, mate? You don't trade what you were taught from the outset. I don't trade what I was taught from the outset. It's a hybrid of everything we've learned over the years. And
oh, absolutely.
I take my hat off to you, mate, to find that so early. What the supplementary question to that, I suppose, is I guess you wouldn't be talking to us if you weren't going okay. How's it going? How's the trading going?
I've been improving more these few months because I'm trying to get I get the flow into the strategy. I'm more used to it. I'm more able to apply to the charts that I'm trading. So it's getting better throughout these few months for now. So I'm trying to keep it consistent at like a few percentage per week. Yeah, that will do for me.
Yes, brilliant, mate. That's brilliant, and that's all you need, isn't it? Just to kind of have a bite-sized goal. So you're not trying to kind of hit the ball out of the park every time that you take a trade. You're just kind of like just taking little chunks out of the market and building up slowly throughout the month. I think that's a much better way to put it, a much better way to look at it.
Yep.
So what would you say is good, and what would you say is challenging about trading? What are the challenges that you've faced? What's the hardest thing that you've come across so far?
The hardest thing I come so far is about controlling my own emotion.
Yes, good one.
Yes, because so what's your second question? Or do you want me
how would you deal with that? How just expand on that then. How do you deal with controlling your emotion?
Yes, a few months back, I'm still not able to control my emotion, where all my trades will be based on my emotions. It will be a lot of losing trades.
Yeah.
Now I'm trying to get out of my comfort zone. I'm just to forbid myself from trading when the chart does not tell me what I want.
When the chart doesn't tell you what you want, you ignore it.
Yes, I will just force myself to stop trading. Just don't look at it.
And how do you do that? I mean, what's the process of forcing yourself? Do you turn your computer off and go out the house, or do you just?
Yeah, like you play piano, I will just play my computer games
for
amazing. 1 hour or two. Then I will just go back to the chart. Yeah.
That's amazing, mate. Amazing. I think I might have to buy an Xbox, and I think I can justify it from what you've just said. I reckon I could probably just about get away with it now. What do you reckon, Jeff? Do you reckon an Xbox or a PlayStation would go past Alison if you say actually it's a trading tool?
Mate, we're sworn off anything that takes our time in front of a television. The only television that we choose to watch is Shameless.
It's so apt it's called that. Yeah.
What a great show that is.
Yes.
No, we don't play computer games. Look, I think I did try those back when I was a youngster. My son is a gamer, and I couldn't make any money out of it, to be fair. Yeah. So for that reason, it's a waste of time for me. But I totally get people who game. It's a great deflection from what's going on in the world, or it's also a good way to make money if you're up there in those stratospheres, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
not for me.
I have to say, I miss it. I miss being on my. I haven't had one since probably since I had a baby. Actually, I haven't had one. But I reckon I can justify it just from just from what Ping Ni's saying, I think I might play this interview back to my girlfriend later.
Mate, you'll get there. Now you've got a daughter, you'll get there. Trust me.
What? I'll get the computer back out.
Yes.
Yeah.
No. You'll have the gaming.
The gaming. Yeah. I reckon. I'm trying to really forge their relationship so they become really good mates, and I get left out of the loop.
Ping Ni, you went to Bali, right?
Yes, I'm into Bali last year.
Okay. I don't think I caught up with you. Did we catch up?
Yes, you was talking about about the moon, the lunar cyclist with me. Do you forget about
now
that?
I've got you. Man, I'm so sorry. Okay, cool. What did you think? Did you think that was probably, well, if there was a breakthrough for you in trading, did Bali have anything to do with it?
Yes, it definitely has something to do with it.
Why?
Because just from Bali, I'm able to get a lot more information that I can focus and use on my trading, like all the different assets that I can gain from sources that can I use for fundamental and the seasonality.
Yeah.
And some extra technical stuff that I can grasp on along the way.
And I think that is the key, isn't it? If you really want to become a successful trader, you've got to be as holistic as you can get. You know, it's if you I mean, I'm sure you've noticed it, Jeff. I'm sure your trading's improved in the last few years, even just because you're starting
after being to Bali. Absolutely.
Yeah, well, Bali, and also because you're looking at a bit more of the fundamentals. I know they don't play the 100% chance and part in your trading, but it's at least 20% now, isn't it, of your trading that you'll sort of focus on the fundamentals a bit more.
Mate, it's one of those layers that we talk about, or that I talk about. It gives you confirmation that what you're thinking and what the markets or what the chart's telling you is right. It gives you a reason to trade in a direction, if you like.
Yes,
and I think that's super important.
So for you, Ping Ni, do you have, because I talk about journals quite a lot. I was talking about the journal over the weekend. Do you have a journal? Have you got a trading plan?
I do not have any specific trading plans, but I will catch up with all the things that I need between the weekends, like Saturday and Sundays. Then I will revise through the charts, all the histories, all the different patterns. I will just revise through it and get me ready for the next coming week.
Right. So when you say revise through it, do you refresh it? Is that because you're still learning, or because you just feel like you have to do that analysis each week to pick out the right trades?
Yes, I just need to do it. I just need to do it to get the right track, so I can get most of my trades correct.
Yes. So would you say that that time on the weekend where you're preparing is possibly even more important than when you sit down to actually take the trade in the week?
Yes. When I'm sitting down during the weekends, I will just look at the chart, see what are the possibilities for the price to be going.
Yeah.
So all the different possibilities I will list out. So when the weeks occurs, when there's any price that hits my target, I'm going to jump into it.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. That's amazing. So I think everybody should take from that preparation is the key. And it really is, for every trader, they know exactly what they're looking at before they sit down. As we were talking to try and get into this FTSE 100 this morning, you guys knew what I was looking for. Even before it happened, before it unfolded, and I decided that hours ago, way before the market had opened. So it's really that I think is a really fundamental point if people want to be successful. Know what you want to do before it happens. And you might think that you're trying to imagine something which is impossible to imagine. But it won't look exactly every time. I did mention an engulfing bar, and it just so happened that today we got one. But it doesn't matter. You know vaguely what you're after, and effectively you're looking for a reason to get in, but your setup has to be there, and a price level to get in. So that's fundamental. I think everybody should take from that. There's a question from Starmax who's asking, are you trading any specific pairs? Are there any pairs that you gravitate towards?
Mainly I will focus on the oil and gold, WTI and gold.
Oh, really? That's interesting. Why those two?
Yes. Uh, Mainly these two will follow much on the fundamentals, and
Yes.
when it trends, it will have a lot of beautiful trending waves where I can scale in with smaller risk and a bigger percentage of rewards.
That's
Hey,
amazing,
mate,
mate.
no pressure, but how low can oil go at the moment? When do we start buying?
Uh, I'm not sure when do you start buying.
You don't need to answer that question. It's a tough one.
Yeah, yeah. Do you know? Yeah, exactly. I mean, the fundamentals on oil are quite tricky to read right now, aren't they? I mean, it's, you know, ultimately, it's going to be as soon as they announce that they're going to get around the table again. You know, even without a deal, people just need a reason to start buying oil because it's so low down here that that any excuse will probably do. As we've seen on the stock market, you know, nothing's happened, and yet we're rallying hard, and we're rallying hard because there's a hint that Donald Trump may present this fantastic offer that he's suggesting that that he's going to give the market. So people are rallying on speculation, and I suspect it will be the same with oil. As soon as Russia and Saudi Arabia say, "Okay, enough's enough, let's get around the table again," then I suspect that will go somewhere, or some other, you know, something else will happen. Coronavirus manages to calm itself down. That will also help the oil market out, no doubt.
I mean, there had to be something. Brexit.
Yes.
You know, we got over Brexit. What's next?
Oh,
On the
mate, there's
menu,
always something, isn't there? There's always something. I mean, I remember sort of, and it's interesting, isn't it? Because, you know, so many traders say, you know, let's let this market calm down, but it doesn't calm down. There's always something on the horizon, whether it's Greece.
Praise the Lord, really. You know, if it did, we'd be in I don't know, collecting dust bags or something. I don't.
Yes, we would be.
There'd be nothing to trade.
No, there wouldn't be. Yeah, you're right, because we need volatility. Absolutely right, mate. I totally agree with that. So Ping, you mentioned scaling in, which I find quite interesting. So you would scale into a trade rather than putting your house on straight away.
Yes, I will scale in at any strong resistance of the day or the weekly resistance. After it break through, I will scale in when I'm short, or it retest some certain levels, I will scale in.
You're scaling, and what would you do with your original trade?
Normally I will scale in after my first trade running about more than 100+ pips. I will just scale in.
Nice.
I will just leave the first trade running.
Yeah.
When I'm confirmed and very confident with the trend, I will do that.
Nice, mate. I like that a lot. And with your what would be the best percentage months that you've had?
Best percentage.
Yeah.
Because last time I'm a bit more emotional, and I think Paul knows it. I'm able to get about 20,000, 20K profit a day.
A day?
Yes. which I will lose it eventually.
Yeah.
Because due to my emotional trading.
Yeah.
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 Yes.
I mean, I thought you were going to say 20,000. I don't know. What were you thinking there, Jeff?
Oh, hang on a second. I've just lifted myself off the floor. And I hate to ask anybody the size of their account. Can you just take me back through that, Ping?
Well, that must be 100% a day.
20,000 a day. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
He was winning 20,000.
I'm using the 25,000 account.
All right, let's not dwell on this. Let's
let's dwell on this.
I don't think we should, mate, because it might cause people to do the wrong thing. Because actually, what Ping's saying is he did make 20,000 a day, but when things went wrong, there was quite a few losses in there as well. So,
Yes.
so I think in
that
some
was
respects,
my next question. Over what period of time did that continue, Ping?
Sorry again.
Over what period of time was that success rate fulfilled, and where are you in that situation? I'm trying not to use numbers for you, because numbers are very, very misleading, because it doesn't mean anything if you've got an account that's $10 trillion versus an account that's $10,000. So what I'm trying to say is, in terms of percentages won and lost, I assume that percentage has declined somewhat, and where is it now as a steady level?
For me, do you mean my current steady percentage per day or per month?
It doesn't matter. If you're telling us that you were, and I've got no idea what percentage that was in those early days where you're getting $20,000 a day.
Well, it's 100%. Pretty
Oh, it was
much.
a $25,000 account.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're talking about 100%.
That's insane. And
it's insane. It's insane. and actually, probably quite dangerous, Peony, I would suggest. And you obviously know this, which is why you said about the losses. But dangerous
what was the risk?
In your early days to be making that much money, because you must just be there just going, hold on a minute, this is easy.
Yes, this is what I thought.
Yes, yeah, and this is the thing, isn't it, about trade? It's fascinating. I've got a friend who's been trading this strategy on the Nasdaq up until last week, really, when the Nasdaq was flying, and I saw him at the pub, and he said to me, it's like taking sweets from a baby. And as soon as I heard that, he hadn't been trading very long. As soon as I heard that, I thought, he's going to lose. That's as soon as you think that with the market, you're in big trouble, because the market just does not allow you. It just doesn't go in that, it doesn't work with one strategy all the time, and it doesn't allow you to kind of like get ahead of yourself like that. So big gains tend to lead to big losses straight after, which I guess is what you're saying. So, and this is why I didn't want to like dwell on it too much. So people sort of like start going, I can make $20,000 a day. Yes, you can, but you're likely to lose 50 if you're not careful. Within a week afterwards, which is what my friend's now been margin called. His accounts closed, and he's no longer in his, whether he trades or not from here, I don't know, but he's been slapped, which the market will do. It's inevitable. This trading is simple, but it isn't easy, and it isn't easy because you have to do the work, and you have to do the work on yourself, and you have to do the preparation beforehand. But I love the story. I mean, it's a fantastic story to know that you were doing that, and shocking numbers, mate. But yeah, absolutely amazing. But what would be now you've settled down a little bit? What do you kind of look for percentage wise each month? What's the target that you aim for?
For right now, I've already worked out from my shadows from the past. I'm trying to get maybe 1 to 2% per day. It's either it's a loss or the win. I'll just close the trade, close the MT4 and do my other stuff.
Yeah. So 1%, so 1 or 2% a day. So you're looking at around about what, circa 10% a month or something like that.
Yes, it's about
which is still amazing numbers. I mean, 100% in a day is obviously astonishing. But if you can get 10% a month, realistically, if you can make 1% a month, and this is really for everybody out there, not to get don't get distracted by other people's records, because they don't matter. You're not trading against anybody else. You're trading against the market, and you're trying to make yourself a nice little income down the line. If you can make 1% a month, that's over 12% a year with compounding. I don't know what it works out as, maybe 15-20% a year. That is a great return. And it beats just about every single investment asset class out there, pretty much. So, and you're in control of it. So aim for 1% a month, and you'll be in really good shape. I think the fact that you're hitting 10% is stellar, mate. Which is why we've got you on the interview rather than anybody else right now. But so what time frame are you trading on to be getting that kind of money?
I will be mainly focusing on the 1 hour chart.
Okay.
And so, 4 hour for the trend.
4 hour for the trend and 1 hour for entries.
Yes.
Amazing. Do you know, mate, I've got so many other things I could talk to you about, but if you would agree, would you mind coming back maybe and talking to us some more? Because we probably have gone and taken up more of your time than we should have done, actually, to this point.
Yeah, sure. No problem.
We'd be happy with that, wouldn't we, Jeff?
Absolutely, mate. I'm just placing a trade here, so we'll get to meet. There's plenty of time, so no drama. But
okay, all right.
Thank you, Pengui. It's wonderful to have had you, mate.
Yes, it is.
Yep, thanks
so much for coming in, mate. No, thank you for your time. Thanks so much for coming in and sharing. I'm sure everybody would have got something from that. And if you'd like to join us again, we'd love you to come on and guest for us, and we'll have a further chat about things. Have a great day, buddy, and a great week, and I will see you soon. And as I say, if you'd like to join us again, then we'll both see you soon at some point.
All right. Thank you, Geoff and Ash.
Thank you,
Cheers,
Ping Ni.
mate.
Speak soon, buddy.
Be good.
Okay. Bye-bye.
So, Jeff, what are you doing here? You're taking a trade here.
Yeah, I want to trade euro dollar. Well, it's against my bias, but the setup is there. And I'm on this, for those of you who don't know, Fusion Markets is a new broker that we've buddied up to. And we had Phil on the show a few weeks ago talking about this. Love it. The reason I love it, the execution is pip perfect every single time. Not just pip perfect, but 1/10 or 100th of a pip perfect. If you ask for this to be filled at 113.54, which I'm not going to do, I'm going to ask for it to be filled at 114.04. You'll get filled at 114.04. And that's the most important thing to me of all. Of course, the second, no, actually, that's not true. The first most important thing to me is that when you ask for them to send you some money, they send you some money. That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
The second most important thing is my orders get filled at the right price. So here's the trade, if you want to follow it. Going back in long, I'm out of euro US dollar long, as I said before. But here may be an opportunity to get back in. And the setup that I've got is pretty much a false break of this support trade line that I've got sitting here in front of me. So I'm going to trade long above this bar, but I'm not going to put my stop below that bar. I think we need our stops a little bit wider than that in this market. So I'm putting my stops below the swing. Now, what that does effectively is it reduces my reward to the risk that I would normally take, which would be underneath that bar. I'm okay with that because I think if I'm wrong here, the market will simply sell off and it will go to the weekly pivot where I thought it would go in the first place. And that's okay, as long as I don't get taken in. But I'll be watching this area very, very closely. I'll certainly be taking profit before the daily pivot, which is due a retest. I know it's had 1 and 1, but that's very early in the day. We're now in a different session. So I'm going to put the entry here, but I'm going to take profit before the daily pivot. So we'll do that. And my entry level is at 1.1404. My stop loss is at underneath that bar, 1.1330, as I've got it there. I've got no idea where the 1 came from, but it's there for a reason. So let's place that order. There you can see the stop loss. The entry is just above this candle. I will take profit just underneath the daily pivot. That'll be my first take profit level. At that point, because of the volatility in the market, I will move my stops to whatever that level is. I think it's about 12, 13 pips, something like that. Yeah, 17 less spread. So about, let's say 15 pips maybe. So I'll be taking my first profit there and I will be closing half of the position and moving my stops 15 pips below my entry level. So that will make that trade free and at no risk at that point if we get the TP1, which I'm reasonably confident we will. Now, here's the thing. I may well trade this short after that happens. So I don't want to be too complicated. I really don't, because I understand this is complex. It's fairly advanced. If we get to the daily pivot, what I think may happen is this may produce, the market may produce a lower high here. Now, if it does, I will look to trade this short and my targets will be here, number 1, weekly pivot number 2, and the rest I'll just let run down to probably this breakout area where you've got that red line, maybe even a little bit lower. I might even chance it and go to there. So what I'm actually saying is my bias is short, but I see the opportunity for the momentum that we've got in the market here to resume. I don't expect it will happen, But if I can get back into that trade that I'm now out of, then that's what I'm seeking to do. I'm sorry if that's completely confusing to everybody. That is, in particular, if you're new to trading. I understand that's very complex and in some ways counterproductive and counterintuitive, but I've got to give this a chance. If this now goes through these highs and I'm not in, well, I've got out of the trade that I was in, right? And I'd be very, very sad about that if this goes another 300, 400 pips. So that's the reason I'm willing to take it. It is a genuine setup that I have. So I'm willing to take the trade, but my bias is in completely the opposite direction. So all I've got to do is hit the daily pivot, and I'm now free trading the long, and then I can trade my bias by trading the short, if that all makes sense. And I hope it doesn't confuse you completely. And if you are confused, don't take this trade under any circumstances, because it's just not in your ball game at the moment. You shouldn't be trading it if it's confusing to you.
Yep.
Mate, is that clear, or is it like mud?
No, I mean it is clear. I think you probably have to understand your strategy to a degree to be able to take this trade with complete confidence. But I think you've told us where the levels are, so I think that works. How many pips does it require to move in order to make sure you can cover your spread or broker's commission? Well, when you get to break even, then that covers the spread. You know, if your stop goes to break even, then that covers your spread. Broker's commission, you don't really know, because it depends how long the trade runs for. They'll charge you a commission every day. I'm presuming you get that, don't you, mate? If with the currencies, you get a swap charge every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, depend on which pair you're trading. That can be in your favor, of course, but I wouldn't be trading. I wouldn't be holding this overnight. I wouldn't think, because it is a genuine small time frame trade, right? And if I'm trading small time frames, what I'm expecting to happen is we'll go to a resistance level and we'll turn around. That resistance level is pretty clear here. So really, my target is here. What I will do is I'll take most of the trader. So I'm going to take 50% off here. I'll take another 25% off here. And if by some chance it does go through the highs, I've got a little bit left in the trade. But I don't expect that to happen. So I'm banking on making my money here in the second half of the trade. That's where my profit comes from. Okay.
So effectively, if you've got into a trade with a stop loss at 10 pips, Chris, and it goes up 10 and you take half, your trade is safe. You know, your trade is equal. You can't lose on the trade. What are the indicators for going long here? Well, this is Jeff's strategy. So Jeff has a specific reason for looking for the long here. You may look at this and go, well, I see a short. And that's not necessarily that you're wrong. It just means that you're probably trading a different strategy than Jeff is trading. So Jeff trades contrary to what the market usually would look like. Jeff will look for opportunities to say, well, I don't believe the market is showing us a genuine signal here, so I'm going to be looking in the opposite direction. But he still needs it to unfold in his favor. But obviously, he's the best man to talk you through that. But this is actually Jeff's specific strategy.
Yeah, look, Chris, it would take me quite some time to explain to you why I think what I think. But all I'm trading here is a setup at the end of the day. And my strategy has, I think it's 9 different setups in terms of candle patterns. And if I see one of those candle patterns in the right position, then I will take that trade. And that's exactly what's happening here. I'm not going to go through those 9 candle patterns, I can assure you. So as far as traditional indicators, if you like, are concerned, don't use them. My indicators are candles and proximity to pivots, basically. that's what I use. Trend lines, flash trade lines, I call them trade lines, not trend lines, because necessarily they're not trend lines. So it's a whole bunch of things that are coming together here at the same time that make me trade. But in terms of traditional trend trading, forget it. I don't trade trends. Full stop.
And then this is the thing, you know. In fact, we should probably wrap up. We've tomorrow we will deal with the pound trade again. Maybe it was a bit confused. There seems to be a little bit confusion about the pound trade. We will do that again tomorrow, and maybe we'll give it a little bit more time if we get the chance. If there's nothing else, there was a few trades in the market this morning, so didn't have a chance. But Justin, he says he didn't quite get the pound trade. Can we repeat that? We will do it again for you tomorrow, and we will do it live, so you'll understand the parameters, and Jeff will talk you through it in a bit more detail probably. But we should probably push off now. Sorry, mate.
You're going to have to pay me overtime again.
The FTSE 100. I'm just going to just finish off with that very quickly, mate. Unless you got anything else.
I'll have a quick look while you're doing that, mate. If
okay.
I have, I'll shout out.
Okay, great stuff. FTSE 100, we entered at this particular price here. It's currently above that level. This trend line is you know, it's going to cause some issues, and actually it might even be a bit tighter, the trend line possibly. Looks all right. So we'd be looking for that trend line to be hit before we took any profit. And I'm looking for it to go through. If the market breaks down, I'm not too concerned myself, because I'm looking for this area here to continue to scale into this. So while this retracement's happened, it could still fail here. No two ways about it. But I have got a view that the market is going to get higher from today, and maybe into the end of the week. And it still needs to kind of close this gap. So it might even be that gap that we end up, which is about 300 pips away before we close the trade down completely. So that is the plan here, just to let the FTSE 100 run. And see if it can just have a little bit of relief after the absolute battering that it's been enduring for the last really the last 2 months, maybe the last 3 months. It's just been absolutely obliterated. So looking for it to really trend to the upside, probably, if we can get it into the middle of the year. But that's going to be subject to certain things calming down with coronas, and also subject to the emergency measures that are going to be put in place by governments with fiscal policy. So we'll see how that unfolds fundamentally and sentimentally, if you like. But the market still looks pretty strong to me today, so I'm quite happy to stay with things. But let's push off, mate. Unless you've got anything else.
No, mate. I think I'm just in retracement mode today, and looking for if you're looking for reversals, then maybe they're there, maybe they're not, but they're going to be retracements, I believe. I think that's on the cards today. So I'm looking for higher lows coming off the top and lower highs coming off the top and higher lows coming off the bottom. If that doesn't make sense to you, ask the question tomorrow and I'll fully explain it to you. If it does make sense to you, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. If we're at extreme lows, then I'll be looking for higher lows to get into the market long. If we're looking at extreme highs, then I'll be looking for lower highs to get into the market short.
Great stuff. All right. Right, well, let's push off, mate. We'll be back same trade time, same trade channel tomorrow. Thanks very much for listening, guys. Thanks for all your input as well. We will get to any other questions tomorrow. We'll certainly go through that pound trade in a bit more detail. We are long FTSE 100. We are looking for a long in the euro dollar. That's correct, isn't it, Jeff?
Yes, mate.
Yeah, okay. So that's where we're at right now. They're the trades that we are taking, or the trades that we have put orders in the market. Have a great afternoon, guys, or great evening, depending where you are in the world. And we will say, well, I'll let you say your thing. But 5 to 8 will be in tomorrow, Jeff.
That's the date. Don't be late, and bye-bye for now.